Hello, good evening, viewers. Today, I'll be dealing with again same topic, that is personality development, wherein in the last session I discussed mainly about the various personality development tips as to what are the how can we bring upon the slope development in our personality. And when we talk about development, we are talking about that is enhancement of a personality, um, in on certain levels, on with the certain uh, traits and characteristics. So why do we want to improve our personality? Because we want to become a better version of ourselves, what we are today and what we are tomorrow and day after. There has to be a an upgradation of the things, and it is not copying anybody. It is you are trying to improve your own version. And to improve your own version, meaning thereby that you add certain skills, your totality in your personality, as to how to give up a bigger version of yourself, the improvement of yourself. So it's certain have discussed about these traits also. So now to summarize upon, there are certain things which now to be needs to be summarized, because it is now scattered. What are the different traits, why they are required? I have tried to in my last two videos, I tried to bring in as to what does it requires to have it, to make it much more viable in the sense, because theoretically it looks okay, fine, I possess everything, this is nothing serious about it. But if you start looking upon our weaknesses, for that matter, it is then we see that there is a lot of improvement is required. And to improvement required, one either has to enhance, whether one has to enhance in the sense the number of the skills, yes, of course, and the whatever you have acquired till now, as to how do you polish those things. There is every possibility to improve upon from on day to day basis. And therefore today, putting it into to summarize everything as to what we have discussed as regards to the personality development, today I'll be discussing mainly on as to the very importance of personality development, of how to do it, what are the various steps to acquire. Now today in totality as to, because there are certain things we know, and merely by knowing does not help us out as to how do we make it viable, implemented. The implementation part is very important for us, and unless and until we able to do work on it. So the my whole idea, my focus is today will be on to justify as to what is required. It is more or less of the justification as to, if I believe in something, if it is only then I will be able to do it. Now there are we know so many personalities, whether you talk about film personalities, whether you talk about sports personalities, political personalities, therefore, and so on and so forth. So there are certain things. Now we try to figure out as to why do these people they make an impact on the other person, and that is why we call it them as personality. We talk about, say, maybe Modi ji, we talk about Barack Obama, we talk about Amitabh Bachchan here, or Brit Card in Hollywood, or so on and so forth. Sunil Gavaskar, the cricketer, MS Dhoni, Nawab Patodi. So there are n numbers of people we know and we come across, and we somehow in the back of our mind it is we want to be like one of these. Now, to be one of these is very, it's very easy to target out. Yes, I want to look like this, I want to become like this. But the important or the million-dollar question is as to how. Now, this is where the importance comes into the theoretically, not theoretically, but of course, to make us, understand uh, as to what this personality means to us. So it is a collection of a very exhaustive list on these traits. So it is the collection of the traits, behavior, and traits, and this leads to the behavior. Behavior and traits leads to our attitude, and having a positive attitude requires a lot of work, and you have to work on your own capabilities and abilities. So and these, this define a person. If we put these three together, the characteristics or the traits, the attitude and the behavior, that defines a person. And this defining a person is defining you as an individual, as to who you are. So this is important to understand. So today, personality means much more. It is not just the physical aspect. Now, if we talk about the physical appearances, again, based on as to what you have internally. Internally, more so, it is psychological nature as to how does you thought process. So this is very important for us to understand, and this will give an outer. So I do not deny outer plays a very important role in the first initial stages to impress. Now, this personality is more or less, if I talk about it in a very simple way, it is to make an impression in the minds of other people. So, how do you get the acceptance for uh, uh, acceptance by the other people? So, this is where we talk about as to why do the other people will look upon you, whether they know you, they do not know you. That is in. Now it is, it's difficult, but it's not impossible to improve upon the personality. It's difficult, I say, because it's one. It is very difficult to justify that I have so many weaknesses. Now, unless and until you identify your weaknesses, it becomes very difficult to work upon. I should logically, somebody says, okay, fine. It is I should be able to recognize as to what are my weaknesses, and then I have to work upon those weaknesses. Are those to be converted into strengths? This is the only way. And to convert your weaknesses into strengths uh, requires a lot of time, because you have to work upon so many things. And because you lack these things, you have to work upon, you have to practice. And therefore, I say it is difficult, but it's not impossible. So this is, the development itself, what investing yourself, your qualities, and your growth. So you have to invest in yourself. This is an important aspect. It is not you are doing for others. It is you in why we are calling it investment. Investment is it is only then you will reap the fruits as to what you intend to do, as to what you intend to do, how you want to work. So this is what the investment is. Today I do not have, but tomorrow I possess by hard work, by inculcating whatever is required to do this, and therefore it will give me fruits thereof. So it is building your capacities. Your capacity is as to how good you are in doing a particular activity. So unless and until you increase your capacities, development will not be seen. Growth will not be there. You may be at a particular level, but if you want to go for a growth, you have to build up your capacities. Nurturing your talent. We have to look out for as to what talent do I have. And then you nurture. Nurture is then you work upon your talent, because it is your specific talent which will put you aside from the other people. Otherwise you become the member of a whole group, and you are not being identified as an individual. You are being identified as a one of the person in the group. Now to stand out from the group, you require a certain talent, so that you are set apart. Enhancing new skill sets. This is very enhancing is adding. What you have, I agreeable. Those are my assets as of today. But to improve upon, now improvement or growth, that is dependent upon as to how do I enhance. Enhance is again addition of the new skill sets. Now, when addition of new skill sets, I have discussed so many skills required, and I said I will discuss also as to you identify as to what you have to from how to improve upon, and how to add then again new one. So this becomes a never ending process. You have to improve upon. Improvement is required, and daily practice is required, so that it becomes in a circle, in a cycle way. The cycle should move on, should go on. I said, working on your weaknesses, this is very important, and to convert it into strengths. Working on the weaknesses means you are trying to eliminate the weak characters from the personality, and it is then you can work upon. So this is very important for us to understand. Uh, why do we require it? Now, if I put it into simple words, everybody wants to make a charismatic personality. Charismatic is where you are able to attract the attention of the other people for one or various reasons. Now, this is very important. Your intentions are what, that is a separate issue altogether. But you have to have a charismatic, some people, there are some people who have got extra talent, so that becomes their charisma. You talk about Lata Mangeshkar, she has got a beautiful, a voice, a beautiful voice, and that is that talents, it comes before her. And her physical looks or whatever the case is, I do not want to work upon that, tell upon this, but we understand, you understand as to what I'm saying. So you have to develop your inner self as well as your outer self. Both are very important. And when you're working upon our inner self, it will definitely reflect outwardly. If a person is important for personality development,